No one has really found the recipe yet for digital music. And we think not only can we find the recipe, but we think the Apple brand is going to be fantastic because people trust the Apple brand to get their great digital electronics from.
Hello, and welcome to the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Erfan Elijah. Hi, guys. Joining me today, two spectacular, handsome, very, very strong with excellent physique gentlemen. The first, you know him. You probably love him, especially if you've seen his face. Buster Hein is here.
What up?
What's up? Leander's here too. He also has just a stellar physique. Do you guys like how I want to get you pumped up for the show? And I feel like just flattering you.
Yeah, I was working at the gym yesterday, and with the personal trainer. I've been working with the personal trainer. They put you in front of the mirror, which is the worst thing.
With your shirt off?
No, it was all clammy and sticking to me.
We have so much stuff to talk about this show. We have just gotten iOS 8 installed, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. We'll be talking about our iPhone 6 pre-orders, and by the time you hear this, you'll probably have an iPhone 6 in your sweaty paws, which will be great. And lots of other Apple news to talk about. But before we hop into the show, I want to thank Squarespace for supporting this episode. Do you need a beautiful website that'll look good on any device that visits? You should try Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website, portfolio, or online store. Check it out for free. Head on over to squarespace.com, and if you decide to purchase their service, you can save 10% off. Just enter code CULTCAST at checkout. I'm also really happy that we have MacPaw as a new sponsor. MacPaw makes an application called Clean My Mac 2. It's an application that I've actually been using for probably 3 years, and it helps you safely clear out all the junk and extra files and stuff that are on your computer so you can reclaim space. I think the first time I used it, I got back about 15 gigabytes of space, maybe even 20. And it helps you delete large unused files. It will help you completely uninstall apps, and also the residuals of apps that have been uninstalled but left components behind. But the big part is it does it safely. So it uses a set of rules and exceptions. They call it a safety database to properly and safely clean your system so that when you get rid of all that stuff, you have everything working as it should afterwards. Like I said, I've been using it since version 1, and it just keeps getting better. It's the best app that I know of that will help you reclaim space on your computer, especially these days. If you were rocking a MacBook Air and you only have 28 gigs.
I desperately need that. I was just trying to clean the thing out yesterday. Yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of hard to know what to delete, right? So Clean My Mac 2. It identifies all that stuff, and like I said, the first time I used it, 15 to 20 gigs, boom, right off.
Really? That's a lot.
Yeah, well, lucky for you, Leander, you can download it at macpaw.com.
Okay.
/cultcast.
Okay.
And you'll save 30% off your order. I want to thank MacPaw for supporting this episode, and that's macpaw.com /cultcast. Oh my goodness. Let's start from the top, guys. Which iPhones did we all pre-order? Buster?
6 Plus.
You got the 6 Plus? We all got the 6 Plus, huh?
Did we?
Yeah.
Like I said last episode, did we even have a choice? Was there even a choice in the matter? I mean, we had to have the best phone. And even though I'm a little leery that this is going to be too big.
I'm already wobbling, wavering though.
Yeah, I kind of am too.
Yeah. Because that thing's a giant, it's like I'm going to have a big TV in your back pocket.
Yeah.
It is. That's why I want it.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I think I mentioned this last episode. I'm going to design a case that has retractable skateboard wheels on the bottom. So you just slap that thing on, and you can ride it around college campus when you're not using it. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome.
It's only going to be $400. We're going to be using Squarespace to set up our e-commerce website. So did you guys actually get your pre-orders in time?
I didn't get my pre-order in on time, but I got a reservation number that allowed me to do mine later.
So when are you actually going to be getting your phone?
It says on the 19th.
So just a few days after it releases.
No, the day it releases.
Oh, is it the 19th? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's...
Wait, what month?
Right. That's
Because
the day after tomorrow.
When I ordered mine, okay, hold on. I stayed up. First of all, I was surprised everyone was up. It was like 12:30 at night on the day they let you pre-order. And Leander, you were up.
Yeah.
And we were all just hitting refresh, because the Apple Store didn't come online until like 3 a.m. Pacific time, which was super frustrating because like we're all sitting there up, way past our bedtimes. Leander, I think I tweeted out Command R ... Command R, and you retweeted it on the Cult of Mac account.
Yeah.
And I have never had so many retweets in my life. That thing was probably retweeted 500 times. I actually had to put my phone on silent because it was draining my battery.
Oh, really?
Because every 2 seconds it would start buzzing that someone had retweeted it.
Yeah.
But so I ordered that night, and I still my ship date, it said October 31st to November 11th for the iPhone 6 Plus. And that's with AT&T because I just simply couldn't get Apple's website working. Leander, what did you do?
Well, I used the app. The site was down.
You got it working?
Yeah, I used the Apple Store app, but it was hugely frustrating because it would it would keep crapping out and at different points in the process. So, you got to enter. I had a special my AT&T account is locked with a passcode, so it would lock out on that. Then it would lock out when I was putting the payment details in. Then it would lock out when I was putting my iTunes password in. Mm-hmm. Or my Apple Store password, whatever it was, So, but eventually, I got two of this. Well, I was trying to get two devices, one of each size, so the 6 and the 6 Plus, and I got one, and then I went through.
You got the 6,
and then,
right? Because that one was actually pretty easy to get.
Well, no, actually, the first one I ordered was the 6 Plus because I wanted to get that, and then when I went back, so that took about 35 minutes, I think. It was about 12:35.
And you were using the app to do this, you said.
And I was using the app, and I was like, whoa, I can't believe it. And it was like, the 19th for a delivery date.
Yeah.
So score. All right, so now I got to get another one for my wife. And got in there and started hitting all the different combinations. She wanted like a gold 4.7 inch. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it said it on AT&T, but it said it was sold out. So I tried 128 gigabytes. Nope, that was all sold out. So I tried 16 gigabytes or whatever it is, 32 gigabytes. That's all sold out. So what's going on? So I started hitting all the buttons, all the different combinations, and it said they're all sold out.
This is what we were all doing, which is why Apple's website and freaking iPhone app were crashing every half second.
Right, exactly. And by this point, I'm kind of in panic, right? So I'm really trying to. I'm like, you're joking. Like this thing's sold out in 40. All the devices sold out in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like it's not. That was kind of like believable. I thought that might have actually been the case, But then finally I hit something and it said it was available. And I thought it was the 4.7, but little did I know it actually hit another plus. So I went through the whole checkout procedure. And by the time I got to the end, I realized that I'd ordered another 6 Plus in gold, 64 gigabyte on AT&T.
So is that the one your wife's getting now?
Well, so then, so I was like, oh no, how am I going to explain this? I'm going to get hit with a frying pan.
You had one job. You had one job.
I know. So in the morning, I got up and I'm looking at Twitter, and then people are saying that I think somebody said that they had ordered a 4.7. They just ordered it. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, really? So I went back in, and lo and behold, you could order the iPhone 6 the next day. This is like 7 a.m.
Here's the frustrating part. I think that's what happened with most people is the people that stayed up at night. We all tried to order. None of us could get our orders in because we were all hammering on the servers. And then we went to bed, and the people who just woke up the next morning who were like, oh, I wonder if they're for sale now. No one was there because we all stayed up till 4 a.m.
Right.
And they just ordered their phones and went about their day. Like, no problem at all.
I know. It was really easy the next day. It was
super easy. I'm super pissed. I stayed up till like 2:30 in the morning trying to get this freaking thing working.
Well, and I can't believe you still don't. You've got an October, November.
Yes. So AT&T has since updated my order and graced me with an October 21st shipping date. That's when they're saying they're going to ship it.
No.
Wow.
Yes. Which is horse hockey, a huge pile of it. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to have to go in there on Friday with all the other plebeians, and we're going to stand there with our hands outstretched like alms for the poor style and ask Apple if we can spend, $800 to $1,000 on a phone because there's just no way to pre-order it. There wasn't for me.
Well, the one smart thing I did do was like get them delivered to the store. Because last time when they did pre-orders, I was going to get it delivered by UPS. Mm-hmm. But I'm here all day. They didn't show up until, 9:30 p.m., 9:30 at night.
Geez.
There was like 2 guys on the truck, and they just had so many.
They're sweaty and tired.
That's
Right.
going to be me this year.
They had hundreds of them to deliver out, right? And so, this time I thought, well, I'll just go pick it up at the store.
Well, that wasn't even
That wasn't
option
an option.
for me.
Yeah, it like all the stores I tried to choose, it would say not available. Not available.
Exactly.
Not available. And
Not
I'm
to
like,
mention-
really? Like, because
One of-
same thing is going to happen to me tomorrow.
One of my big frustrations was exactly that. Like, I just want to buy the phone and go pick it up or have it sent to me, and instead you're corralled into these payment plans. Like, you either, at least for AT&T, you had to do AT&T Next, or you had to do a contract with AT&T. And I'm like, I don't want to do either of these things. And the only way to have it sent to the store, I think, was to do a contract. So,
Okay.
like, it's 2014. Could they not have just said, the phone is $850. You want to buy the phone? It's like a MacBook. You buy it, we'll ship it to your house, or you can come to the store and pick it up. Not, you buy this MacBook and we're going to put you on like a payment plan for the next two years, like layaway or something. It's like, just let me pay for the damn phone and come get it. I have.
So you
the
can't
money.
get an unlocked one, or you can't pay all the way up front?
I think you can pay up front if you go into the store, but you can't pre-order one and pay full price unless you do T-Mobile. And I asked them about unlocked phones because that's what I was trying to get, and they just said, no way, we don't know when those are coming out. It could be months.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I think Apple must have a deal in place with like the carriers to give them first priority.
Right, exactly. That makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, they must have some deal worked out so that AT&T...
It sucks for the consumers, but...
It does. It's crazy, isn't it? I'm like, look, I have $1,000 here. I'm just trying to give you this $1,000. Just take it. Would you please just take it? And they're like, no, we can't do that. You have to pay us $24 a month for the next 2 years.
Right. Well, AT&T's got to get their pound of flesh, though, and all the other carriers, too. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was so pissed off. I was like, it's 2:30 in the morning, and I still have a ship date. Like, I waited, 2 weeks. Even worse than 2 weeks. AT&T's ship date is like, I could order an iPhone now from Apple and get it before the one AT&T sends me. So if you see a grumpy guy with curly hair in line at the Apple store at 7 a.m. in the morning in Seattle, don't talk to me. I'm not happy to be there. But I still will take a selfie with you. So we could do that. Let's talk about the reviews for the iPhone 6. So the embargoes have been lifted. I thought it'd be cool to run through what we've heard everyone saying. I have heard nothing, well, mostly only good things. Everyone seems to be thrilled, and I think the consensus is this is the absolute best iPhone Apple has ever made, although the 6 Plus can be a little awkward to hold. Have you guys heard any different?
Well, I held some at the event.
Yeah.
And, I didn't think it was overly difficult. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have little tiny stubby fingers, though, so...
AKA Alex hands?
Yeah.
Let's just call them Alex hands from now on.
Hobbit hands.
Yeah, but those two are synonymous. Let's just stick with Alex hands. So you didn't find it to be too much?
No, but I mean, that's not really fair. I was just, I'm messing around at the launch event. I mean, it wasn't like I was trying to use this, with a latte in one hand and a bag and over my shoulder and racing for the bus.
You didn't have your merch there with you?
No,
that's unusual.
Yeah,
I carry that everywhere. Let's see here. Let's run through some of the things people have said. Best phone on the market. Lots of people have said that. 6 feels great in the hand. 6 Plus can feel slightly awkward. I've heard that echoed from several different reviews. People seem to be pretty impressed with the Focus Pixels feature, which allows super fast phase detection focusing, so really fast focusing in both the video mode and then also in the photo mode. People are saying that when you're taking a photo, the focus is much faster. This one will please most people. The battery life on the 6 Plus, I haven't heard anyone say that it lasts less than 2 days under heavy use, which is surprising.
But they were complaining that the phone, the battery use on the 4.7 was
just as bad.
Yeah, it wasn't as good.
Wasn't as good as the 5S or the 6 Plus?
The 5S. The people could barely get through a day with it.
Wow, really?
I guess, I don't know. I mean, actually, I'm not 100% sure about that. I mean, I just did some skimming.
I read a review by Matthew Panzerino of TechCrunch, and he took the phone to Disneyland in this really nasty Samsung case that he used to hide the phone. And I thought his review was good because, I mean, he's using it in a situation where everyone's trying to connect to the network to upload stuff, and you're sharing stuff all throughout the day, right? Because you're at Disneyland. And he said he got 2 days of use out of the 6 Plus, and it still had 16% battery life left when he left.
That's pretty good.
Awesome.
That's amazing because,
Yeah.
at CES, you might make it 6 hours before you're having to, plug your phone in. One of the other common praises, the cinematic video stabilization feature makes your videos look really great and also smooths out shaky video. Have you guys heard anything else that people have said that they really love besides, it's the best phone ever, a revolutionary device?
Yeah, some people. The interesting thing I thought about the 6 Plus reviews is they're saying it's not like a bigger phone. It's like a completely new device, and it's going to replace like my iPad, and it's now going to become my primary computer, and it even replace laptops too, which is really interesting. I mean, the iPhone I thought was already like getting there. The funny thing is, like, people are saying, "Oh, it's embarrassing to hold it up to your ear," but that's probably the last thing you're going to do on this thing, right? Who makes a phone call anymore?
Yeah, when I do, I always use my headphones.
Yeah, and it's for all the other things, which I think that big screen really enables. And when they start doing some of the stuff in iOS 8, like the sharing extensions to make it easier to share stuff between apps, and if they ever add a multitasking, window to it, a view to it, then it's going to be really interesting, like to see that become, I think, for a lot of people, a primary computing device. You
know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take my iPad mini out of the case and start carrying it around, holding it up to my ear, making telephone calls like the grocery store and stuff. And then when people ask me about it, I'll be like, "Oh, this is the new iPhone 6 Plus. Have you not seen it?" And I'll hand it to them and then ask them what they think. That would actually be a great video feature.
Right. Why don't you make a call? Here, talk to my mom.
Yeah, here, talk to Buster's mom. I have her on speed dial.
Well, the size of the screen, the Plus screen, is almost the same size as the iPad mini screen.
It's a little. The mini is like an inch or an inch and a half larger, isn't it? Isn't it 7.9?
Yeah, but by the time you got a bezel on it, if you look at it, it's almost it's pretty close.
Yeah, they definitely look very similar. I have an iPad mini. I'm going to be interested to see if the 6 Plus actually replaces it. I don't expect that it will. I think I'll probably keep mine. You think so?
Yeah, I think that people are totally right. About it replacing, iPads and your phone and possibly even your laptop.
That's one of the reasons why I want it, is so I don't have to carry my iPad around, which doesn't have an LTE radio in it. So one of the other things I've heard echoed is the LTE modem inside the phone is actually like 150% faster. We've talked about that in previous shows. And people have been noticing that they're able to access stuff on the web much quicker, which is good. One common criticism before we move on is a lot of people have been saying if they find one thing they don't like about the phone is they don't feel like Apple efficiently used the extra space. So they just gave them a bigger iPhone, but the space isn't really used in any kind of innovative way.
I think that'll get solved over the next couple of months with updates with iOS 8. But yeah, I would agree that I don't want just everything like scaled larger. I hope Apple will add extra elements on that phone, instead of just making it a big ass iPhone.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think eventually they will. But, in the meantime, quite honestly, I'm perfectly happy just having a bigger screen.
Yeah.
I don't need to have a freaking stylus. I don't know if I need to snap stuff to the screen. Like, people start bringing up Samsung features and like the Samsung does this, does this, and that.
That's
I'm like, no one likes those features. No one even uses them.
I know. People are saying there's no stylus. People love the stylus. Is that true?
No, it's not true.
I would lose the stylus within the first 2 weeks. I'd never use it again.
Yeah.
You know what I think is you can take that stylus and stick it up the bottom of your phone where it goes, and then just leave it there in its appropriate storage area. You probably thought I was going to say a butthole, didn't you? I didn't. Speaking of iOS 8, we got iOS 8 today, and I thought it'd be fun, Buster, if we just ran through some of the cool features that maybe people don't know about. What do you think about that?
All right.
But before we do that, Buster, hold on now. Yeah. Before we do that, I want to give a shout out to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Guys, honestly, truly, sincerely, Squarespace is great. And if you need a website, if you're trying to showcase your photography online, if you are trying to build an online store, there is just no other website that I know of that makes it easier to build a website quickly. It will look beautiful. You have a plethora I'm breaking out the fancy words here, a plethora of designs that you can choose from. And once you have your designs picked, you can drag and drop modules in to build out your site. So you can drag and drop in videos, you can drag and drop really beautiful image galleries, you can create a blog, you can add your social media. You're going to have a really slick looking website all without any code. And as I've said many times, it would take you a ton of money to pay a developer to build a site that looks this good and also make it scalable, which is key with Squarespace. So that means no matter if it's a 6 Plus that visits your site, a 6 that visits your site, a Windows Phone, a MacBook Air, a PC, Squarespace is going to magically resize everything and make your site look great on whatever device that visits. Plus, when you're getting things set up, when you're getting things designed, if you run into any problems at all, Squarespace is always there 24/7. Their customer service people are very friendly, and they're always willing to help you out, help you get unstuck. Check it out. If you need a website, head on over to squarespace.com. Sign up for a free trial. They just need your email address and a password. You don't even need to give them your credit card number. Play around with it. Build a site. If you like what you see, you can buy their service and use the code Cultcast at checkout. You'll save 10% off any order. That could be a month of service, a year of service. You'll save 10% with code Cultcast at checkout. I want to thank Squarespace for supporting this episode. Hey, you guys know Squarespace has been supporting us for a long time, and we really love having them as a sponsor. So please go check them out. Thank you, Squarespace. Alrighty, Bustier.
What up?
Let's talk about iOS 8. I finally got it installed on all my devices.
Oh, yeah. How do you like it?
Honestly, as soon as I got it installed, so I'm coming at this fresh. I haven't had the GMs or the betas installed or anything. So I didn't really notice any difference. Visually speaking, it kind of looks the same. But there are some features up in that backside that you mentioned.
Oh, lots of backside features.
Do you want to talk about some of maybe the lesser known features? And I'm looking at your article on Cultimac, 18 hidden iOS 8 features you probably didn't know about.
Sure. Number one would be like battery usage. You know, now you can find apps that are hogging your battery.
So was this not in iOS 7? Because I thought this was.
No, there was other apps that would try and do it for you, but it wouldn't tell you like the battery percentages.
Okay. So that's one. Recovered deleted photos is another one that we've talked about before.
Yeah, you should probably know about that if you got naughty pics.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And erase trash. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
There's a dark mode that you can toggle.
Booyah.
Grayscale mode.
Can I mention mark all messages as read in the Mail app, which I have wanted this ever since I used the Mail app, because I use Pop for my email, for some of my email accounts. And when you get new messages in, to have to mark them as read one by one is a huge pain. You can remove people from group messages now. I forgot to include that one. You didn't include that in the piece?
No, I'm probably going to
need you to dock his pay. Go ahead and just dock him an hour if you would.
But that's a big one that I think a lot of people will like.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be using that one for sure. Like when you all of a sudden get railroaded into an iMessage conversation. Yeah, you're like, get me out of here. You could buy Shazam songs off Siri, so you can say, Siri, what song is this? And it will automatically search it for you. FaceTime call waiting. Good use of the GIF here, Buster.
Oh, thank you. I just went crazy on that.
I think this is interesting. I think it goes to show that a lot of people are using FaceTime call waiting or FaceTime, and you actually need a call waiting feature now, so in case you get another call.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's like most of my friends call me FaceTime first.
I know, me too. It's just so easy to get a hold of people that way. Does the FaceTime call waiting feature, it works in both the audio and the video mode, right?
Yep.
Okay, booyah. Timer with burst mode on the camera, so now you can do time-lapse photography, is that right?
No, just so like if you're setting a timer, you just get burst of photos. Like, so if you're doing like a self-portrait but leaving your phone, that way you get more to choose from.
Oh, I gotcha. So it just does a quick succession of photos.
Yeah, and then you get to choose them.
Nice. iTunes radio lock screen.
Yeah, you can, see how many skips you have left, stuff like that.
How many skips do you get in iTunes radio?
I think you get 5. I don't ever use it.
Yeah, I don't either. What else we got here, Buster? Anything else that's new, notable?
The credit card scanning thing's cool. It's kind of like a preview of Apple Pay because you'll just take a picture of your credit card and it automatically throws the details into like any order form on Safari. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty neat. Just tons of little things throughout the whole thing that you'll probably notice over the next week.
And now with iOS 8, they're activating iCloud Drive, correct?
Right, yeah.
So now here's the thing about that. And as I was getting this set up, it said if you are not planning on updating if you don't update your other iDevices or you don't update your computer to Yosemite, then you're not going to be able to access iCloud Drive, including your photos. So it kind of seems like maybe now is not the best time to churn that feature on because Yosemite's not even shipping until what, October?
Yeah, October 21st is the rumor.
So I'll be honest, I don't fully understand like how I'm not going to be able to access my photos from my other devices if I turn that on. Especially since I just saw some pieces about it right before we hit record about not being able to access photos. But keep that in mind. I would probably wait before you turn that feature on. I already did, so
too late for you.
It's too late for me, but I'm trying to save you guys the heartache. Okay, anything else to add on iOS 8 before we move on?
There's a lot of stuff. It's a huge update.
I know, it's a massive update.
So hard to cover.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about it before so many times on this show. I just wanted to bring to light maybe some of the cool features that people hadn't heard about in a while or maybe didn't know about in the first place. So iOS 8 available now. It was available as of 12 p.m. today, Pacific time. Actually, I take that back. 10 a.m. today, Pacific time. Today is the 17th. So it should be available wherever you are. Let's talk about... We didn't mention this last show, and I'm so happy that we're revisiting this topic. So, Leander, the iPod Classic, rest in peace, God rest its soul, has been phased out silently by Apple.
I'm going to show you the back first because I'm in love with it. It's stainless steel. It's really, really durable. It's beautiful. And this is what the front of it looks like. Boom. That's iPod. I happen to have one right here in my pocket, matter of fact. There it is, right there.
I saw some tweets about this last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but this is kind of a big deal. And I think that you agree, right? Because Apple... I mean, this kind of launched Apple into their new era with all the devices they're creating today and all the money they made from this. Now we only have the touch-based iPods, which is a little sad. And I thought maybe we could do like a short segment on the history of the iPod. You wrote this great piece on Cult Mac, which is an illustrated history of the iPod and its massive impact. Let me ask you this, Leander. What was the impact? Can you describe it? What was the impact of the iPod on Apple and the world at large?
On Apple, it was massive. You know, it was the product that really transformed the company. Before that, it was kind of a struggling. Well, not struggling. It was it was doing okay, but it was always competing against Microsoft, and it just sold computers. So people loved the Mac, and Steve did a great job in bringing back some great machines and Mac OS 10. And all the iLife applications, and it was doing pretty well. It was really thriving, but it wasn't, a big, powerful company that was today. And the iPod was the product that really started that transition, and it took off. It took a couple of years for it to really take off because at first it was a Mac only, player. It was kind of expensive. You had to have a FireWire Mac to be able to use it. The iTunes Store didn't come along for a couple of years, but then they made it compatible with Windows. They gave it a USB connector, and then it really took off like crazy. And it was strange to see that because, the early adopters, you would see the white headphones going into someone's pocket, and you give them the iPod nod across the street because
they used to be
were
very prestigious.
Yeah, definitely. And there weren't that many people that had them. But very, very quickly, once they took it to Windows, it became like suddenly you'd see white earbuds everywhere.
Yeah.
And everybody had them. And it was really ubiquitous. It was quite a thing.
I remember when I first got my iPod, I got the iPod Color, which was years and years after the first release, and I felt pretty cool.
What was it? Oh, with the color screen?
Yeah, well, I had my my iPod Color, but with the white earpods, or the white earbuds, I should say. I felt really cool walking around campus, because those were like a symbol of prestige. Like, you're really cool that you have an iPod because they were so expensive.
Yeah.
Talk about John Rubinstein. this guy, he was tasked to create the iPod, and they were trying to figure out, what they were going to be doing. And he kind of seemed like the technology wasn't available to make this device. And then Toshiba released this new hard drive. Talk about that.
Well, Johnny Ive in the Industrial Design Studio, they had MP3 players going back to the iMac era. So that was like 97. Mm-hmm. And they actually designed some prototype iPods that looked just like the hockey puck mouse. Mm-hmm. But they used flash storage, and so they would store 16 songs, like one CD's worth. And
it was probably insanely expensive too.
Right, and it was big, and it was like, I think, the battery life wasn't great, and there were a lot of early MP3 players, Creative Jukebox, wasn't it? No, the Dell Jukebox, but the Creative something.
Wasn't it like a Movo or something?
Yeah,
I had one of those things.
Right, they were big. They were really impossible to load up songs. They were impossible to navigate. They had tons of buttons. Mm-hmm. They were either sort of big and unwieldy, or they were small and they didn't hold many songs. So the early MP3 players weren't very good. There wasn't really a good technology to come along. And then Rubinstein was in with Jobs in Tokyo for Macworld Tokyo, the last one I think, which is like 2000. Mm-hmm. And he said he was in charge of all the hardware at Apple, and they were making iMacs and iBooks and PowerBooks, and Toshiba. He had a routine visit with Toshiba, who were one of their hard drive suppliers, and they told him they just developed this little tiny hard drive, but they didn't know what to do with it. And they were thinking, could we put it in a camera?
And this is the 1.8 inch hard drive that were used in all the
iPods, right? The planners were actually about the size of a quarter. Mm-hmm. So it was tiny, and immediately he was like, I know exactly what to use this for. It's perfect for a music player. But he didn't say anything to Toshiba. Mm-hmm. And he went back to see Jobs at the hotel, and he said, I found the technology we need to make a music player. Mm-hmm. And, all I need is, I think he said, a $10 million check.
Is that all? Shoot, you should have come to me.
Right. So Jobs said, go ahead and do it. But Rubinstein's team was also busy at the time. Everyone was working on the new Macs and new PowerBooks. That he didn't have anyone to put on it. So he went looking he asked around, does anyone know somebody who could, like a consultant, mm-hmm. who could take a look and see whether this is feasible and what it would take to get this thing into production. And he was recommended. Tony Fadell was the one who was recommended. And Fadell had been at Philips and General Magic, which is another Apple spin-off that was doing like a handheld device. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't, I think it was, he had a startup that was kind of struggling. Fuse, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is kind of detailed, I think, a bit too much detail. But yeah, his startup was kind of struggling, but it was, and it was a big deal. It was Apple, right? Giving him a call, saying they wanted to come and talk. They wouldn't tell him what it was for until after he signed a big stack of NDAs. Mm-hmm. But of course, Rubinstein piqued his interest, and then it was like, okay, I could do this for a few months, and I'll use the money I'm getting paid from Apple to keep my startup alive.
I think it's interesting that the name iPod, Steve Jobs didn't like it when it was initially suggested to him, as he didn't with the iMac, which is funny. He wanted to call it the Mac Man. Remember that? Yep. From our conversation with Ken Siegel, that's hilarious. And then it grew on him, and in January 9th, 2000, they released iTunes, and and they released the iPod as well, right? Wasn't it January of 2000 that they released the iPod?
I want to say 2001. It was just after 9/11, so it was like in October 2001.
Well, when it came out, people were like, "This is insane. This thing's way too expensive," and they started making riffs on the name iPod,
right?
Such as "idiots price our devices."
It's pretty funny. You can go back and look at the Mac. Like Mac Rumors has a great thread on it when it came out, and the rumor mill had gone into overdrive, and it was like because people wanted the replacement for the Newton, which Jobs had killed a few years before, and so there was a lot of rumors it was going to be an MP3 player, but of course people wanted an MP3 player that did, that sent faxes and took email and did dictation, and they wanted like a Palm Pilot on steroids that also did music, but videos and played movies, and the rumor mill was really out of control. As you know what it can get like.
Oh,
so
yeah. Like
when it was just like an MP3 player, and not only that, it was a $400 one.
It was $400. It had a 5 gig hard drive, and it only held 1,000 songs.
Yeah, people went bananas, and it's pretty fun to go back and look at that Mac Rumors thread because people were really angry about it.
In 2002, October, they released iTunes 4.1, which came with Windows compatibility. And at that point, I was surprised to read this. So at that point, that's when iPod actually really started to take off. Before that, it wasn't floundering, but it wasn't doing very well. And along with Windows compatibility, Steve Jobs had some deals going with U2 and with Rolling Stones to help launch the software. June 2004, BMW debuted the first connection, or the iPod connection system integrated into their cars. I remember when this happened, actually.
Well, it's interesting to go back and look at the history of the device because it's classic Apple. You know, they have something. If you look at it now, the original one, it looks like a primitive brick, and you go, "Oh my God, did that thing really turn into something?" And but it was like it was iterate, improve, and refresh. And within a couple of years, they had like models at every single $50 price point, from including the what was it called, the shuffle, which came out of the screen. And what was super clever about that, Jobs managed to turn that into a feature. It shuffled your music, which is amazing. But the thinking there was because they wanted to get people into the iTunes music store. And Steve, it was in fact Fidel that convinced Steve to do this. And Steve was saying, well, tunes cost $1. That's great. But Fidel was saying, no, they don't. You've got to get an iPod, which has cost, several $100s, at least $200, plus the $1 for the song. So you've got to get that price way, way down for people to get into the iTunes store. And that was the thing behind the shuffle. And that was a big hit too.
And now, of course, as I mentioned before, all the click wheel iPods are all gone. I kind of wish that Apple had done something on their website. With all the new product announcements, it seemed like it might have been impossible. But I mean, this is the end of a big era for them. It really is. The end of the iPod Classic is that iconic player that, as you said, Leander, kind of launched them into a whole new level.
Yeah.
And beyond Apple computers. They used to be Apple computers, and now they're just Apple. Yeah. Because they make all these devices that improve our lives in so many ways. And this was kind of like the gateway into that new Apple. And now it's no more. You can't buy it anymore except.
Well, it was nice to see. It was at the same time. You see, its DNA is in the Apple Watch. With the crown, the digital crown, which is the successor to the click wheel, and the watch, is going to become the sort of it's the iPod Nano. The next iteration of the iPod Nano, but much more sophisticated. It's a pretty sophisticated computer that's going to be strapped into your wrist. So it's great. I think it absolutely shows how amazing technology is. What it can turn into. 10 years ago, it was a fairly brick-looking player with a very, very simple interface, and now it's this incredibly complex computer that will fit into an area that's small enough to go into your wrist. It's really mind-boggling.
I know, with the whole ecosystem of apps and all these different APIs that developers can tap into to create apps for the devices. Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah, the functionality is crazy.
But it used to be cool. I mean, you used to have to listen to like a CD or something, and to be able to store like 2,000 songs, 5,000 songs on an iPod and take it with you as you went about your day. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was a big leap.
And it made me feel so cool walking throughout my college campus doing that. I finally replaced my Sony Walkman, retired all my tapes.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, Leander, I know you got to run, right?
Right, I do.
You're an important man with important things to do. So you feel free to hop off. But for those listening, we actually still have quite a few pieces of news to jump through. And we're also going to be talking about the Apple Watch. Gosh, it's going to be so hard not to call it the iWatch. Pricing. John Gruber recently wrote a piece on how much he thinks these things are going to cost, and I think it's going to shock you, and you might even poop in your shorts a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Leander, you need to go, right?
Okay.
Feel free to hop off. Just go, Leander. Gosh, take it. Is he gone?
There.
There it is. Jeez, take a hint. You didn't even have to be anywhere. I was just like, that's enough. That's enough with you. Hey, before we move on, I do want to thank our sponsor. This is actually a new sponsor. They're called Varidesk, Varidesk.com. And they make portable, well, maybe portable is not the right word. They make stand-up desks, but their stand-up desks sit on top of your existing furniture, and they are height adjustable. So you can take a Varidesk, put it on top of your desk that you use now, and it converts that into a standing desk. I love standing desks. Buster, you and I have recently both started using standing desks.
Yeah.
And are your glutes just not hard as rocks now?
Oh my gosh.
I start calling you iron glutes now. That's just my nickname for you. Have you lost any weight?
Oh, probably 1,000 pounds.
Well, you guys didn't know Buster used to weigh about 1,400 pounds. And now he only weighs 400. And it's all thanks to the standing desk. But seriously, I started using a standing desk recently. I'm reviewing a couple. In fact, I'll probably end up talking about them in future episodes. And they're incredible. I mean, once you go standing desk, it's hard to go back because your body gets used to being upright all day instead of seated. And one of the things I really love about it is when you're sitting down, your metabolism slows way down. So you just burn fewer calories throughout the day. And if you were to stand, even for like maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, you will end up burning, hundreds of more calories a day. And over a week, that could be, 2,000 plus calories. And you didn't even have to do any extra exercise like running or, anything like that. So the thing about standing desks, though, is they're really expensive. I haven't reviewed one that costs less than $1,000. In fact, most of them are more than that. Buster, you reviewed one. How much did yours cost?
Oh, dude, like upwards of $1,400.
Yes. Yeah. So you reviewed one that was like almost $2,000, I think.
Yeah.
Varidesk is great because their desks start at $275. So they're extremely affordable. We actually reviewed one on cultamac.com. So you set this thing down on your desk. It takes about 3 seconds to convert it into a different height, and you can set the height that works right for you. It ships fully assembled, so it's ready to use right out of the box, and they have 4 different models to choose from, some for single monitors, some for dual monitors. If you can't afford a full price standing desk, or you don't have a place to put a big standing desk, because a lot of them are really huge, or maybe you like your desk that you're using now, you just want the option to stand up, Varidesk is an excellent option for you to check out. Head on over to varidesk.com, varidesk.com, and you can check out all the different models that they have there. And, if you like something, I totally recommend you make the switch, because I will never go back to sitting all day long. In fact, it's weird. Now that I'm standing for most of the day, when I sit for too long, I actually start to feel antsy. You know what I mean, Buster?
Yeah,
like
I get shaky leg syndrome. You're like,
it's like your body just wants you to get up and move around. And I've probably lost about 10 pounds. You know, that's not bad considering it's not really any extra work. You're just
exactly
standing there working. I want to thank Varidesk for supporting this episode, varidesk.com. Buster, what say you and I run through some news?
What kind of news?
I was thinking Apple news, but did you have another kind you wanted to do?
Yeah, we could do the Apple news this week. That's cool.
So let's run through some headlines for this week. We already talked about all the big stuff. Dude, do you want to talk about U2?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit, this story's a little bit beaten, but yeah, I do.
Let's at least mention it. I think U2 is one of the best bands of all times. I'm just going to put that out there. I think U2 is amazing. Their album Achtung Baby is incredible. Rattle and Hum, I think, is one of the best live albums ever made. I think U2 is incredible. And I think it's heartbreaking and it's frustrating to hear everyone crapping on them so much lately. Like, people are talking about U2 like they're Blink 182. I know you're a huge fan of Blink 182, so I apologize. But they may not be making music you like now, but historically speaking, very relevant and will be relevant for all time until the world gets destroyed.
I think most people respect U2's place in the pantheon of great bands, you know.
Thank you.
They're living rock gods, you know, one of the few last alive. I think one of the things that put people off was that, you know, the album was forced on you, like, okay, like that's great that album's for free, but don't put it on my device, you know, if I don't want it. And, you know, a lot of people got really mad that it was a U2 album too.
Okay, I'm with you on that first part. The people for that second part, they can suck it. But on that first part, I will totally agree with you. The fact that Apple pushed this album to everyone's devices just seems like a really bad move to me.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those things where they probably just weren't thinking like, yeah, that's awesome. We're giving, you hear Tim Cook in his Charlie Rose interview. This is awesome. We gave this to all of our customers for free, and all of the customers are like, yeah, you put it on my iTunes account forever, and I can't get it off.
I can't get it off. See, now I'm with you there. I mean, them putting this on your device without your permission just seems like a bad decision. Why would you do that? It's like, make it so that if you want to download it for free, that's an option, but to push it to your device?
Well, it sounded like, they weren't getting as many downloads the first day. They announced like 2 million downloads, and that was only less than 1%, And so then they spread it, then it like was automatically on your device, and then it racked up like 33 million experiences.
So the rumor has it, as you said, only 1% of iTunes users downloaded it. And rumor also has it that Apple paid somewhere around the sum of $100 million to U2 to access this album and give it to everyone for free. So maybe this was just Apple being like, oh gosh, at the current download rates, we're paying like $150 an album.
Well, they didn't pay it wasn't just for the album, but it's for the whole ad campaign, which is also odd because, I turn on the TV and the Apple ads I see are the U2 ads instead of the new iPhone 6 that they just announced, that comes out next week. So I think something weird happened with Apple's marketing decisions here, man.
Yeah, and we mentioned last week, including that YouTube bit at the end of the keynote was a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like they should have dedicated as much time as they did to it. And obviously the conversation between Bono and Tim Cook was just weird. It was like, oh my gosh, this needs to end quickly. Yeah. In any case, if you want to remove the U2 album, you can go to itunes.com/SOI -remove, which I think stands for Songs of Innocence. SOI -remove, and it will remove the album from your device. But keep in mind, if you do that, the album is gone and you won't be able to access it again until October, when you will have to purchase it. So don't get rid of it if you think you're going to listen to it. Let's talk about a new social networking app that just landed on iPhone that I love.
You're about this app, huh?
Huh?
You're all about the Tiny, huh?
So Tiny, TIINY, is a new social networking app from Kevin Rose and Associates. I love it, dude. I've been using it every day, and I think it's so much fun. Are you not actually posting anything?
Here's the thing: is my front-facing camera doesn't really it's really effed up on my iPhone, and so Tiny. I feel like most people are just like, it's selfies 24/7. So I can't take a good selfie, so I can't post on it.
But it's not just selfie. You can use either camera.
Yeah, I know, but it just seemed like the only creative thing on the first day was selfies.
Yeah, I think people are kind of figuring out like how to use it.
Yeah.
So Tiny, the reason I like it so much is it's really simple. So it's kind of like Vine in that you're limited in the length of your video, but you can't edit your videos at all. And you can use it for either pictures or videos. And then as the name implies, your video or picture show up as a tiny square, which I think is great. Because, on our HD screens, especially with the 6 Plus, every detail of everything you post can be shown. If you have a bug hanging out of your nose, people are going to see it. If you haven't shaved and you look like a bum, like I often do, everyone's going to be able to see every little, detail of what you post. And Tiny, the images are really small. So you kind of get to hide behind the low quality of them. Maybe low quality isn't the right term. You kind of get to hide behind the small square because people can't really see anything. Yeah. So for me, it kind of allows you to post more things that you maybe wouldn't post otherwise because you wouldn't want people to see every aspect of what you're doing in HD. But I think the big draw is also after 24 hours, anything that you post disappears. So it's kind of like a mixture between Instagram and Snapchat. So you're posting pictures and videos, but they disappear. So even if you do something stupid, it's going to be gone from the feed in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Can you go back and delete a picture?
Yeah, it's really easy to delete. So I heard some people say they couldn't figure it out. All you have to do is swipe on one of the pictures of the videos that you created, and then you can delete it right there.
Okay.
So TIINY. Buster, are you on it?
I'm on it.
Okay, cool. I think it automatically, you have to sign in with Twitter, I think. So it automatically adds your username and stuff. So if you're looking for me or Buster, I think I'm at Airfon or just Airfon on it. Buster's BST3R. Come hang out and watch lots of videos of my dog eating stuff. Oh, gosh. Well, it's a sad day for the people of 4chan, Buster. A sad day indeed. Well, one of the things that people on 4chan like to do is look at celebrity boobs that they were not authorized to look at. And unfortunately, I think they're not going to be able to do that anymore.
It's going to be harder, at least.
It's going to be a lot more difficult. Harder is not the word I would use in this discussion. It's going to be a lot more challenging for those folks because Apple has activated two-factor authentication on iCloud backup. So one of the big problems before, and we talked about this on a previous show, is hackers could download your iCloud backup and access your photos and stuff, and your two-cloud authentication, if you had it turned on, didn't protect those assets. Well, Apple has since turned it on, and Ars Technica was doing some testing with some of the popular hacker tools that are out there and has confirmed that if you have two-factor authentication turned on, that will make it very, very difficult for people to access your selfies and whatever else you have living in iCloud. The question is, Buster, are you going to turn yours on?
Yeah, I have it turned on right now, and I find it so annoying.
Dude, I hate two-factor authentication. It is the worst thing in the world.
I'm so lazy that I feel like this is not worth the extra effort of keeping my naked pics safe. If the world really wants them, they can have them.
And I know there's a small part of you that kind of wants the world to see your naked pics.
Yeah, of course.
So if you have it turned on, Apple will send a text message to your phone with a code, and you will have to enter that code in order to, allow that transaction, if you will, to occur. So if you're worried someone's going to steal your data, you should turn it on right now. I don't know, man. I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I actually am going to turn it on. But full disclosure, guys, I don't have anything that you'd want to see on there.
Yeah, it's just really boring pictures of the ground mostly.
Yeah, right. And things that are in your beard.
Yeah.
So, but you can feel safer knowing that now you have that option at least. Buster, let's talk about one of the most popular stories of the week, and maybe you can tell me why this was so popular.
Okay.
Apple has confirmed that the iPhone 6 NFC chip is only available for use to Apple Pay at launch.
Right.
This story got an insane amount of likes and retweets, and I'm like, Didn't everyone just kind of expect this? But I guess people were really interested in this. Why is this a big deal?
Well, some people thought that, the addition of NFC would be, just developers will be able to access it right away and, use it for like NFC tags and other cool stuff like pairing and sending messages. But yeah, Apple said that's not going to happen for now.
I think eventually they will open up their NFC.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
Developers.
NFC, it's really was added just for Apple Pay specifically, because Apple needed it for that. And so I think once Apple Pay is locked down and Apple knows it's secure, after, a few months or, a year, like Touch ID, it'll get opened up to developers.
Why was this story so popular, though?
Because Apple confirmed it.
I was just like, this is like one of the biggest stories of the week. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you could tell me why everyone was so excited to hear this news. But
I think a lot of people, some people, just assume that because the whole iPhone 6 keynote, the whole time you didn't hear anything about NFC until Apple Pay came up at the very end,
Gotcha. Yeah, and Apple's not even touting NFC as a feature of the iPhone 6. It's just a part of Apple Pay.
Right. So I did get like a lot of people who like emailed me and were like, "Oh, Apple lied to me, and this is some BS." And I was like, I don't think that Apple lied to anybody because they never said NFC is a iPhone 6.
Oh,
feature.
I gotcha. So there were people that were really excited to have NFC finally come to the iPhone, and it didn't come to iPhone in the way that they were hoping.
Right, because it's not outside of Apple Pay. People want to use it in different ways other than Apple Pay. They want to be able to like walk into their house and like use their NFC tag to like turn on all their lights. But Apple's playing that as Bluetooth as well. So I think that's another part of it is they want to funnel developers to certain areas for, some tasks.
Interesting. Okay. Before we talk about iWatch, and we'll wrap up with that, or I'm sorry, Apple Watch. Even Tim Cook called it iWatch, and that
I still can't stop calling it that.
I kind of wish they had called it iWatch. But anyway, we talked about Apple Pay last show and how Apple probably will be making money off every transaction. Well, according to a post by the Financial Times, Apple's going to be making 15 cents on every $100 spent via Apple Pay. Now, this may not sound like a big deal because 15 cents isn't very much money, but imagine how many hundreds of billions of dollars may start getting run through the Apple Pay system, and Apple's going to get 15 cents of every $100 spent.
Yeah, dude. It's the, what was that movie with the stapler?
Office Space?
It's the Office Space scheme, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, your analogies, everyone knows your analogies are the best. That's a top quality analogy. That's right. Yeah, and they're trying to skim money off the top, and all things go haywire, and they get like $400,000 in one night.
They're just taking a fraction of the penny,
So that's not stealing. Yeah. That's not stealing.
But I mean, it could be huge in the future. It's going to
be if Apple Pay ends up being as huge as it is being sold to be, and I think it's going to be like ubiquitous payment system soon. Mm-hmm. Apple is going to be making fat stacks. I'm talking like G5 jet type money.
Mad cheddar.
The maddest of cheddar just on this. I mean, they're not even going to have to sell you a product. They're going to be making money off this platform that's just you spending money. So no matter where you spend money, Apple's going to get a cut of it. Mm-hmm. Dude, I got to go. I have to buy some Apple stock. Can you hang on? I'm going to go buy some real fast.
Sure.
Okay, I'm back. I have one share. I'm going to be rich. Okay, Buster, let's wrap up with Apple Watch pricing.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear anything about this post by John Gruber?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
So I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this matter. So I want to read you a little something that John Gruber wrote on his website, and then we'll get into the discussion. He says, Apple is taking on the entire $100 and up watch industry at once with a range of models and prices that span the gamut from $349 to $10,000 or more. They never mentioned the word smartwatch last week, just watch, and never once acknowledged any competition from the tech industry. Nor does the word iWatch, I can't stop, nor does the word smartwatch appear anywhere on Apple's website. The only comparisons Apple's making are to the traditional watch industry, and their prices are going to reflect that. So basically what John Gruber is postulating is Apple is going to price these iWatches insanely high because they're going to be marketed as fashion items and not as tech items.
Yeah.
So he thinks Apple Watch Sport, $349. That's not a guess. Apple has announced that. But the Apple Watch, the one with the stainless steel band and the sapphire crystal display, $1,000.
Dude, that is expensive.
Apple Watch Edition, this is the 18 karat gold watch, and I don't know if that's plated or if the actual watch is 18 karat gold.
It's actually
gold.
Yeah,
okay, so that makes a big difference, right? Because you have to weigh in the price of gold into the cost of manufacturing this. It also has a sapphire screen display. He thinks it's going to be at least $5,000. $5,000.
Yeah, to start out with,
and it could be more. Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think these prices are totally batshit crazy, or do you think they're kind of maybe close?
Oh, I think, I heard another theory. I think it's probably close. I heard another theory that Apple, like the Apple Watch Edition, they would possibly let other retailers make like the Prada Edition, the Burberry edition, stuff like that. So
I
it's
think
even
that's kind
more
of implied in the
expensive.
name too.
Yeah, exactly. So then, you're going to get, watches that could be, $20,000, stuff like that, because they're going to be viewed as like collector's items. I don't know, man. I think the Apple Watch Sport will sell well at $350, but I don't think you'll see, a lot of Apple Watch editions around, but I think that's the point.
Well, John Gruber also goes on to say, regarding the Apple Watch edition and potentially the regular Apple Watch, they'll have severely limited lifespans compared to traditional timepieces, like a Rolex or, some other, high-end watch, which will only make them more notable in terms of fashion and as personal statements. So basically, the way I interpret this is Apple's going to be able, you buy it to flaunt it, and and everyone knows it's only going to be relevant for a year, which makes it even more desirable.
It's like the remember when apps came onto the App Store and there was that I'm Rich app? It was like $10,000.
And didn't it not do anything at all?
It just showed like a shiny gem and stuff. That's kind of, in some ways the Apple Watch, like, okay, yours is made out of 18 karat gold, but it doesn't do anything else. It's just all fashion and flash.
So he goes on to talk about the construction of these, the Apple Watch and the Apple Watch Edition, about the high precision manufacturing. Like, for instance, the stainless steel band on the Apple Watch takes like 9 hours to machine, and then they assemble it and polish it. So these are really top tier devices. Mm-hmm. They're not shoddily made. So he uses that as an argument to for the high prices. But to me, I just think this is crazy. And I'm not saying John Gruber's crazy. If Apple actually ends up doing this, that seems crazy to me. $1,000 for a stainless steel watch and $5,000 for an Apple Watch Edition. It seems like when people buy watches that are really expensive, like a Rolex or like a Tag, I think it's pronounced Tag Heuer. Is that how it's said? Do you know?
I don't. I'm not rich enough to know.
Yeah, me either. But these watches, are $10,000, $20,000, and some of them even appreciate in value after you buy them because they're jewelry and they're high-end fashion items. And for Apple to think that they can charge similar prices as these companies for a technology item seems like impossible to me. Because you buy an Apple Watch Edition, let's say it costs you $5,000. Yes, it's nice, but it's a piece of technology, and in a year, it's going to be outdated. Because like a Rolex is never outdated. It's the same mechanical, watch every time they release a new one. Maybe they update it here and there, but technology depreciates every single year. Every device you buy is worth a lot less a year after you buy it. So how can you justify buying a $5,000 Apple Watch when in 1 year it's going to be worth $1,000?
Okay, I know it does sound crazy, but I think Apple will be wildly successful doing it, man. Virtu phones, are just, basically a way for rich people to say, I have money to burn. And I think the Apple Watch Edition will be that exact same thing. Like, who cares? Yeah, I bought a watch that's $10,000 and it's going to be worthless in a year because I can. And I think that's kind of like a popular thing among the ultra wealthy. Like, you'll see Apple fans on launch day buying 6 iPads just because they have enough money to buy all that, and it's cool, and they want to tell their friends that, yeah, I have this. And so I think Apple will be successful because Apple's cool, and it's a piece of fashion that they can just flash off that's like instantly recognizable.
But here's my other thought about this. You can buy the exact same watch for $350. So let's say that the Apple Watch Edition is $5,000. Yeah. The exact same watch, minus the gold, minus the sapphire cover, minus the steel or the gold. It's the exact same watch. Whereas you can't buy a cheap Rolex. I mean, John Gruber makes the argument that, well, you can buy the same Rolex in stainless steel for $8,000. The gold edition might cost $20,000. Yeah, but you're starting at $8,000. This is $350. Is someone who's super wealthy willing to spend $10,000 on a watch that they could get for $350?
the watch, the face of it, it looks the same. That's what you're focusing on. But you got to think that the Sport, they don't have the interchangeable bands like the Apple Watch and the Edition do. And so the Apple Watch and the Edition are going to look much different on people than the Sport will. You know, you're going to have a lot of, you know, high-end jewelry people come out with custom watch bands for Apple Watch that are going to make it super flashy as well. So it's not... It does. I don't think that the little computer that's inside the watch is going to matter as much. It's just that, I have this, you know, tiny little computer on my wrist that is really expensive.
I think that's the exact same argument that John Gruber made. He's like, if you can't think about this from the tech aspect of it, because that's not what Apple's pushing. It's not a technology watch. It's a watch.
Yeah, totally.
And so they're going to try and push it as a watch that also has a technology aspect to it. And they're marketing it to people who care about fashion, which from all we heard, I mean, that event, the keynote was filled with people from the fashion industry, right?
Yeah.
So they're obviously courting those people.
My biggest problem with it is, and I guess this is kind of your argument is like, you know, I think you're saying like the Apple Watch Sport just devalues the Apple Watch Edition so
Exactly.
And I kind of agree with that what I would like to see Apple do is, if they do take that road with like ultra expensive watches, to also address like, you know, the billions of people who can't afford that and just need a wearable. Like Tim Cook had a whole interview with like Business Week where he said, I wish we could make this Apple Watch, you know, cheaper for everybody, because it costs $350 and it's supposed to help people like live healthier lives, but we can't. Well, maybe Apple should make like a better wearable that's cheaper, you know, and then have like a separate like Apple Watch Edition, which is really fancy for others.
I think eventually they probably will get to that place.
Yeah, I think they're
just like all their other devices. They start off at a premium device, and then they kind of, you know, flush it out from there.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, $5K. I'm gonna.
So are you buying one? Is what you're saying?
I'm gonna get the Sport. I'm more of a sport man. If they make a stainless and the stainless costs $600 or $700, I might go for that. I don't think $1,000 for the Sport is that wacky.
For the Sport?
For the Apple Watch,
regular
stainless steel one.
I also hate those name schemes.
I know it's not my favorite either. $1,000 for the Apple Watch, the stainless steel, seems kind of crazy. I'm gonna guess they're gonna come in at $700, and for the gold, I'm gonna guess they're gonna come in at $2,500.
$2,500 for the gold.
Yeah. Okay. And even that, I think, is extraordinarily high. But, you know, they have to cover the cost of the gold. Gold has a price. So...
Yeah, I'm thinking that wouldn't be enough to cover the gold possibly.
It might not be. I'm just totally taking a guess. I mean, it may be worth more than $2,500 on the gold alone.
I'd love to see how they make, that piece out of gold. I would love to see the manufacturing process, because I mean, I don't know. The tech that goes into that watch is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's obviously a lot of features that we don't know about it yet, because Apple has been totally tight-lipped on anything else. I mean, aside from what they announced from the keynote, they haven't really shared any other details with people. Yeah. So there's still a lot of facts to be discovered about the watch. Which one are you getting, Buster? You're going to Sport, aren't you?
If I got one, I would have to get the Sport.
Yeah.
But, if I get rich, I'll go with the Gucci Apple Watch Edition.
For $20,000.
Yeah.
Although the stainless one actually does seem like it might be kind of up my alley too.
It actually
strong.
It looks classy.
Classy, yes. All those words I would use to describe me. So, in any case, all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up there, Buster.
All right.
This has been an hour and 90-minute show.
An hour and 90 minutes?
Yeah, that's how long we've been talking. All right. Hey, if you want to chat with us on Twitter, please do. I'm at Airfun, Buster's BST3R, Leander's L. Caney. Tell us what you think about a 5K Apple Watch. Hey, go check out Varidesk.com, Varidesk.com. They make standing desks affordable, and make sure you enter Cultcast in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Get up off your butt during your workday. You're going to feel a lot better. This has been the Cultcast, the best 30-minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Cultcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. You know who I think would love a Apple Watch Edition gold?
Who?
Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Oh yeah, give me that. Okay, audio still sound okay?
Yep.
Wonderful. I swear it's Comcast. I've tried 2 different modems.
We're switching to AT&T tomorrow.
Are you?
From Comcast.
Why? I thought you were like thrilled with your internet service.
Yeah, but we want the TV. The Comcast TV stuff sucks.
Oh, at your house you're switching.
Yeah.
Geez, at least you have another option. I don't have another option. It's either this or I have to go to DSL.
It's very sad. This is fiber optic.
Wow, that's awesome. I wish I had that choice. Choices are bad. They lead to switching. Comcast doesn't like that. Although I think our mayor is investigating municipal broadband, which would be incredible.
Nice.
Okay. I know that is sexy to you guys. We could talk about it for 15 or 20 minutes if you like.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, here we go.
Why, are you going to move it?
Yes.
You're going to sell it?
I'm going to sell it.
Sell you.
We're listening to Leander make a drug deal right now.
Him and Jim.
He's literally buying drugs from someone right
How
now.
much?
No, it's not those.
$40? Bollocks.
Kids hid it, didn't they?
It's all leaves.
They did hide it.
Do you want me to text Lyle?
Oh, he's calling it his other drug dealer, Lyle.
Where's the cocaine?
AKA his son, so he gets a discount. Family discount.
Oh,
Lander, are you ready?
Sort of, yeah.
Just toke it up and let's do this.